So, you ever build this amazing Node.js app, you spend hours on it, and then you restart the server and poof, it's all gone, right? It's like your app has amnesia. Well, today, we're going to fix that. We are giving our app a real, permanent memory.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to start by really nailing down this whole amnesia problem. Then we'll get our hands dirty and open up a connection to the database. After that, we'll draw up a blueprint for our data, and then, the fun part, we'll actually start bringing that data to life. And to finish things off, we'll cover how to handle all this stuff like a total pro.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the why. Because before we even think about writing code, we've got to get our heads around the real problem we're here to solve. This app that just can't remember anything.
I mean, this is the question, right? You can build the slickest app with the smartest logic, but what happens when the server stops? Where does all that data go? If it just disappears into thin air, your app is basically a temporary toy. What we need is persistence.
Yeah, amnesia is the perfect word for it. Every single restart is a total memory wipe, so our mission today is to basically perform a little digital brain surgery. We're going to implant a long-term memory using a MongoDB database, so our app can finally start remembering things and actually grow over time.
Okay, that's enough theory. Let's get to the good stuff. It's time to roll up our sleeves, grab our tools, and actually build that bridge between our Node app and its new brain.
And our number one tool for this job, it's called Mongoose. Look, you could try to talk to MongoDB directly, but think of Mongoose as your expert translator. It's this awesome bridge that lets us work with our database using plain old JavaScript objects. It just handles a ton of the messy stuff behind the scenes, which makes everything way cleaner, safer, and honestly just easier to understand.
And check this out. Getting started is dead simple. It's just 3 steps. 1, you npm install it. 2, you require it in your code. And 3, you connect to your database. Boom. That's literally it. 3 lines of code and the door is officially open.
Okay, so the door's open, but we can't just start chucking random data in there, right? We need a plan, a map. We need to lay down some ground rules and tell our database exactly what our data is supposed to look like.
And that blueprint in the Mongoose world is called a schema. This is where you set the rules of the game. So for example, a user schema might say, hey, every user must have a name and it has to be a string. Or the email has to be totally unique. Think of it like you're designing an index card for a library. You're deciding right up front that it needs a spot for a title, an author, and so on.
So if the schema is the design for the index card, the model is the thing you actually use to create and manage them. You basically hand your schema blueprint over to Mongoose and it gives you back a model. And that model, that's your workhorse. It's how you'll do pretty much everything with the database. It's like the librarian's special stamp that makes a new card official.
So let's just break that down because it's super important. The schema is the blueprint. It's just the rules, the design. It doesn't do anything on its own. The model, on the other hand, is the tool. It's the thing that does the work, the creating, the reading, the updating. You design with the schema, but you act with a model. Simple as that.
All right, connection's open, we've got our blueprint, we've got our tools. Now comes the best part. Let's actually put this thing to work and start managing some real data. When you talk about databases, you're going to hear this acronym all the time, CRUD. It stands for the 4 big things you do with data: create, read, update, and delete. And we're about to see how our model makes every single one of these a piece of cake.
Want to create something new? You just make a new instance of your model, like new user, pass in your data, and then call .save, and that's it. Mongoose takes over from there and creates a brand new document in the database, following all the rules from your schema.
Need to find something? Easy. You use a method like find_one. You just tell it what you're looking for, like find me a user where the name is Ada. And Mongoose goes and fetches the first thing that matches. It's just like asking that librarian to go find a specific card for you. And updating is just as simple. Use something like update_one. You give it 2 pieces of info. First, what to find, and second, what to change. So here, we're saying, go find the user named Ada and update her name to Ada Lovelace. Done. And last but not least, deleting. You guessed it, it's super straightforward. You use a method like delete_one, tell it which document to get rid of, and Mongoose just zaps it from the database. Gone for good. Okay, so we've seen the happy path for all these operations. But let's be real. In the real world, things don't always go perfectly. The database connection could drop, a query could fail, you name it. Writing professional code means you got to be ready for that stuff and handle it. Now, way back when, JavaScript used to handle these things with callbacks, and if you've ever seen it, you know it can turn into a nested, confusing mess. But today, we have something so much better: Async Await. It lets us write code that has to wait for things, like a database call, but it looks like it's running in a straight line. It is just so much cleaner and easier to follow. And really, that's the key takeaway here. Using async/await isn't just about making your code look prettier. It's about writing code that's more solid, easier to fix later, and just more professional. It's the standard for a reason, you know?
And the best part about async await, it works perfectly with try-catch blocks. The rule of thumb is simple. Anytime you talk to the database, wrap that code in a try block. If something goes wrong, the code jumps right to the catch block. That's where you can log the error or send a message back, all without your entire app crashing and burning.
And there you have it. That's the whole toolkit. We went from understanding why we even need this to connecting, to designing the blueprint, running all the operations, and even handling errors like a pro. Your app is cured. No more amnesia. It can actually remember things now and build on that knowledge.
So I'll leave you with this. You've just given your app a superpower, a memory. The only question now is, what are you going to teach it first? What amazing things are you going to build?